Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Lift with Sheila Robinson-Kiss. As always, your Auntie Sheila is in the house. I have got your back. I absolutely wanted to get this message out sooner. However, having said that, the title of the message today is How to Get Your Mental Back on Track After the Election, a Winning Plan. I needed to do that first for myself before I could support anyone else. And that's what I've been tending to over the last couple days, my mental health. And before I get into a message that is filled with strategies, I want to put a bit of a disclaimer on this video message. It's very interesting. A couple weeks ago, I got a note from someone. It was okay. It wasn't, nasty or anything like that, but it did take me aback a bit. Someone actually questioning, asking me, what does politics have to do with mental health? Let me answer that question very candidly. There are times, in addition to being a mental health educator for over darn near 30 years, that's a very long time. It's not a hobby for me. This is my life's work, my life's vocation, my life's calling. I don't do that work in a silo. I don't do that work in a vacuum, if you will. Mental health crosses over several intersections. I think it is very clear, the intersection of mental health and politics. And if you doubt that, you just turn on the TV, you can see various reactions to the results of the election. I'm respectful of everyone, regardless of who you cast your vote for. We live in the United States of America. That is absolutely your business, your right. That said, this message is particularly for the people who are suffering in this moment. The results that they had hoped for, they did not get. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And there are very concrete and specific reasons behind those feelings and emotions. This was an election. There was a lot riding on it. Everyone, there was a lot. There was a lot of vitriol and negativity flying back and forth during this election. It was so hard fought because the stakes could not be higher. That said, I'm right there with you. I understand the shock and awe. I went to bed early on Tuesday when it was clear things were not going to go in a certain way. But I didn't stay in bed long. I did not sleep on Tuesday. I don't know what your experience was, if your mental health kind of has taken a nosedive, but I literally woke up and I found that my hands were shaking. I had a feeling in the pit of my stomach. It was really just this impending doom and darkness, and I had not experienced something like that in a very, very long time. And I share that with you to just validate whatever your experience was. And I've been talking to a lot of people over the last few days, and it varies. It is okay. It is okay. Get yourself out of judgment, and let's get ready to dive into some solutions to get yourself back on track. I'm also going to ask, again, this channel generally attracts very kind people. We may have differing opinions, but if you're delighted with the election results, I'm just going to invite you, instead of sending me snappy notes, which I get those from time to time, go out and celebrate. Go out and celebrate. If the Harris Walls ticket would have pulled it out, I would be celebrating right now. I'm going to invite you to go out and celebrate, have a good time. The individuals you wanted to win, they've done that. I do believe in my spirit that will be a short-lived celebration, but I do invite you to do that. What this video and this time is about is supporting people who are struggling at this time with their mental health and looking to get it back on track. I have 5 things that I want you to keep in mind. My life is dedicated to bringing you practical, real world strategies across life circumstances and situations. The name of the game is having a very intentional plan to keep yourself lifted and to keep yourself, you know, on track. Many of us across the country have derailed. So this brings me to strategy number 1. My grandpa Hood, and you've heard me talk about him, certainly over the years, a very wise man. And he had a standing rule. Didn't matter what had hit him in life, what he was going through, he always put a time limit on it. And he would tell us growing up, baby, 72 hours, darling, not a minute over it. You put a time limit on, sitting down. If you're in the dumps, we all hit these valley moments. I have found his advice to put a time limit on it it has served me very well. Doing this work as long as I have, there's something about it when you start to, you're just ruminating, you're festering, you go past that 72-hour mark or so. I have just seen folks, slide deeper into depression, deeper into despondency. So I do like the idea. For me, it has always been, within 72 hours, I use that time to process. Certainly over the last couple of days, I had my tears of my anger. I'm still frustrated and angry. I have used that time to connect with folks, to talk things out. I've used that time to journal. Part of that time I use just to lay there and just feel every single emotion without judgment. So I encourage you, again, my pick is that 72-hour mark. You may have a different time frame you want to put on it, but I love setting some kind of boundary and limit. And that limit is, okay, after this period of time, I need to start really looking at my plan, being intentional. That is the process of picking oneself up, if you will. So we want to set some limits there with ourselves. Number 2, this has really helped me. Suggestion number 2 is allow facts to meet your fear. I'm not saying all of us, many of us are afraid. To my shock and dismay, yesterday, I received an email, a text message. Several people of color received this email with an invitation to report to the plantation to pick cotton. How they got the text message, the numbers, I have no idea. How if you're texting a brown person, a white person, I don't know what's behind it, who's behind it, but that was another shakeup. Made me afraid, nervous, and particularly nervous for my child. I have a 12-year-old child. This is the last thing I need to have to explain to her. Yet, having said that, let's pull back. I know there are a lot of things people are afraid of, reproductive rights. There's so much uncertainty. No one, just like no one knew with the election, people can tell you they know what's coming next. We don't know. We don't know what's coming next. It's a very unpredictable time. But here's what we do know. We have some facts. Number 1, many people have reached out and they're just afraid that this heavy hand, things are going to be turned upside down overnight. There's no recourse. We have to sit back and take it. What I want to remind everyone of is this: the United States has a very sordid history. Understand me very well. Is it a gorgeous and beautiful country filled with opportunity? Absolutely. This is my home. It is the only home I've ever known. I've raised a family here. I've come of age here. I've grown a very successful business here. America, we have so much going for us. So please don't send me any notes about bashing this country. I'm a fan of the United States of America. That said, the facts have to come in here too. We have a sordid history. That history includes oppression of many groups of people. We can go down the list. We can start with Native Americans, slavery, we can go on and on, civil rights movements. We have had to put things in place because there has always been a faction and an energy, that underbelly, and we can say a very transparent feature as well of this country is certain groups of people feeling entitled and feeling as though they can run ripshod over other individuals. That said, I'm speaking facts here, we have a robust layer. There are layers of protection available at the state level, at the local level. There are already governors putting things in motion to protect states from overreach, aggression, authoritarianism, if you will. So there are layers of rules, laws, court rulings. Many things have to be dealt with and worked out before these fears of overreach and putting various laws and restrictions in place. I want us to remember that. Something else I really want everyone to, center yourself in the history, what we have been able to achieve and overcome. And like it or not, the recent results of the election speak to that. When groups, of our citizenship comes together, the people spoke. This was a vote by the people. The people elected number 47. Again, that was a vote that came from the people. So there are those of us who may not like that, who are not celebrating that, but it does speak to what can happen when folks come together and make sure that your voices are heard. Now, I've heard a lot of individuals saying, I'm going to walk away from the table. I'm done with all of this. I would invite you to strongly reconsider that, because if you walk away from the table, you're going to lose your place at the table. As for me, I'm not going anywhere. I will put my 2 cents in. I will be heard. I have made some modifications. Let's talk about that. You can decide from here on out if you're feeling overwhelmed. You can decide how you're going to participate and what you're going to consume. Mainstream media, that's out for me at this time, for probably a very long period of time. I'm just not interested in that. There's some voices that I tune into on YouTube, trusted voices. Mainstream media, I'm pretty much leaving them behind because I feel in my heart they are part and parcel responsible for the outcome, because a lot of key information did not reach people. So some of the mental health fallout that is being experienced, the mainstream media has had a large hand to play in that. So I'm still planning to stay engaged, but I'm just changing how that looks. I have followed politics extremely closely for a number of years because policies matter to me. I understand the power of voting blocks. I get that now more than ever. So my message that's wrapped inside of a mental health message for those that are struggling in this moment, it comes from an informed informed perspective. Let's just say that. So you can, change how you engage and the level of engagement. But I would strongly encourage you. People say, "Oh, take a break, take as long as you need." My advice is a little bit different. My advice is to put a time limit on it and with great intention, decide how you're going to stay at the table, be engaged, and make sure that you have a voice and what is to come next. I'll also remind you that the pendulum in this country, it swings and it can swing wide. We have go back in time. I mean, we've presidents, we've had our ups, we've had our downs. There's been some beautiful periods, there's been some ugly periods, but we ride it out. We ride it out together, and your voice, it absolutely matters and it makes a difference. And the other piece of this that I'm encouraging folks not to turn away is because there's going to be some critical information unfolding in the weeks and months ahead, and you don't want to miss that. That's part of the plan. You're going to need to have various responses for what is up ahead next. Number three, don't isolate. Isolation is a problem in this country. It just wreaks havoc on people's mental health. Also the mind can play tricks on us in isolation. You do want to make sure that you're connecting inside of safe space. Maybe that's friends, maybe that's family, but this is not a time to isolate. And a lot of people say, "Well, Sheila, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of family." Well, there are communities that you can be a part of online. It may be groups that have, not necessarily a political affiliation, but places where you can just feel good about connecting with other folks. I just don't recommend when you feel compromised in any way, isolating. It is not a good idea. Find connection where you can. It may not be perfect connection, but we're talking about maintaining an elevated state. Next, regenerate. Even before the results of the election, I've been talking to you for years about daily renewal and regeneration. That's going to look different for everyone. For me, being out in nature is very healing. I've been taking long walks. I've been sitting outside in my yard. I've taken my little Yorkie Gizmo out. It is healing. That's a form of regeneration for me. Working my EFT, the tapping, daily affirmations, my prayers, grounding myself. Everyone, I've been beating the drums for years now. Find, at least 3 daily renewal activities that you can pull on. More than 3 is great, but at least have those pieces. This is how I can come back and center myself. We're going to need to do that daily at this point. It's not weekly, it's not monthly, daily. Stay hydrated. Please pay attention to your nutrition. Please pay attention to how you are talking to yourself inside of your head. This is an ongoing conversation that we have in here. Get a handle on that. Be mindful of how that chitter chatter with yourself, because that is exactly what you're going to be living out. And then lastly, this is really, the creme de la creme, if you will, the top of the top of the message. Get intentional. A lot of people, I'm afraid, I'm fearful. Okay, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I have those same emotions, but I want you to be intentional about how you're going to channel them with great specificity. So one of the things I decided to do is I'm going to be getting more involved on the local level. I want to start working with various libraries, advocacy, because they want to ban certain books. I'm completely against that. So I want to be active. That's going to support my mental health. I'm doing that with great intention. I'm also making some decisions, again, around how I'm going to be consuming my news. I do want to stay connected, but that's just going to look a different way. Another thing that I'm being very intentional about is making sure that on a local and state level, the elected officials that represent my particular district, my particular state, I will be writing some letters. I'll be getting involved in a couple various issues that are going on within the state. Some of those have to do with mental health, and there are some other topics. But at the end of the day, what I'm asking you to do, and it may not be as you're channeling your fear or your stress, it may not be something with politics that you're getting involved in. You may just say, at this point, I just want to channel everything into my family. I want to channel everything into my children. I want to channel everything into a business idea that I have. That's perfectly fine. I want you to get into the spirit and mindset of, I'm going to be transforming that energy, that nervous energy. I'm going to make it work to my advantage. Now, lastly, those of you who have traveled with me for a while on this channel, you know that I'm sharing the practical, the clinical with you. And I would be remiss. I wouldn't be doing my job and wouldn't be doing you justice if I didn't pull in the spiritual. And a simple message on that note. I believe that everything, this is how I live my life, everything happens with reason and intention. We may not fully understand it, but I can assure you, my friends, in the days and months ahead, the reasons why will become clear. My personal opinion, I do think that it is a test of sorts. I do think that we're going to need to come to a reckoning in this country about a lot of different topics. And I do think that we're going to realize as we've gotten ourselves into this situation and many others, and when I say situation, again, I'm the United States, citizen of the United States. I have every right to state my opinion. And my opinion is that we're in for one hell of a ride. And how we're going to make it through this, it's going to be through a calm heads. It's going to be through solidarity. It's going to be through focused intention. And I can tell you right now, this is no time. Not whatsoever. This is no time to bury your head in the sand. This is a time to embrace resilience. It is a time you talk about faith. Those of you who are on a faith journey, we can't have it both ways. Faith, we can't just embrace our faith when things are going well and hunky-dory. We're taking this faith walk when the things heat up in the kitchen, if you will. So it's getting hot in here. I certainly hope something I've shared has been useful for you. I invite you, hit that subscribe button, share a comment with me. I'm always looking for elevation and motivation. I get a lot of that from this community. Well, trust and believe. Trust and believe. I've got your back, and I will be right back here real soon with another message of elevation. Let's be intentional about it and take care of your mental health. Thank you so much.